Actress, screenwriter, and producer Kristen Wiig likes a good project. When she bought this 1930s Pasadena house, it was a bit of a surprise pick for her compared to her previous choices. But this house has some surprises of its own. I'll show you how I would decorate it if it were mine. Or Kristen's, I suppose. When it was on the market a few years ago, the listing called it a Georgian style house, but it's more of a federal style house because it doesn't have the fancy details of a Georgian house. It's a lot simpler, especially with its newly painted black trim and shutters. It's still very traditional in appearance, though. So, what attracted Kristen to this particular house? Well, there's speculation she grew interested in the neighborhood when she was filming scenes for her movie Bridesmaids in 2011. This film location that's supposed to be in Chicago is actually in Pasadena. This house was owned by Rose Byrne's character in the movie, and you might recognize it from its role as Wayne Manor in the Batman TV series and lots of other productions like Rush Hour, Stand By Me, and even an episode of Murder She Wrote. Yeah, you can see that being a Murder She Wrote. It was a British consulate, I think. Anyway, Kristen liked the street and its beautiful mansions well enough to eventually buy a house there in 2017. But she bought this house. No British consulate for her. And this is case study house number 10. And I'll go into it more in a minute why it's a case study house. Before she bought this one, her previous houses look like this. Are you getting the idea? She likes contemporary design. Meanwhile, the house she was destined to buy, the Federal Georgian down the street from the case study house, it looked like this. She waited to buy it until it looked like this. And until 2015, it still looked very traditional inside. Now it's what I would call deliberately youthful. And the contemporary living room used to look a bit more traditional, like the outside of the house. It was renovated to bring in more light and modern touches, like steel frame doors and windows. Now that it's Kristen's house, it's rumored that she's bringing in designer Sarah Sherman Samuel to put a fresh stamp on the place. I featured Sarah's design for actress Mandy Moore on my website. So if that's true, the living room might soon look something more like this. It's a very light and organic California design. And I like the idea that the new steel window could tie in better with the round windows by the front door. Sarah likes to use pattern, texture, and patina to create a grounded feeling in her designs. And I think this would be a very serene space to come home to after a busy day of acting, writing, or producing. So, believe it or not, this house is about the same size as the case study house, although it does look bigger. It's definitely more family oriented, as you'll see. It has 3,604 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Before its remodel, the kitchen used to look like this, and today it looks like this with a new La Cornue range and a Sub-Zero refrigerator. This breakfast area already has a redesigned look to it. It reminds me of the one at Mandy Moore's house, actually. The dining room used to be very formal, and now it's a bit more eclectic. But if it were mine or Kristen's, I think it should look like this to tie in better with Sarah Sherman Samuel's design for the living room. And this design is by Whalen. This house has a lot of both old and new architectural details, like the fireplace, the vaulted ceilings, and the window seats. But this design looks a little heavy to go with our other proposed redesign, so I think it should look more like this, again by Sarah Sherman Samuel. And they should take out those big heavy cabinets that were around the window there. The bathroom would still tie in nicely to the new design. So this is the rooftop deck that opens off of the master bedroom there. And the former sleeping porch was renovated to make a kid's bedroom and bathroom. And here's the third bedroom and bathroom. The new dark paint color does look nice with the red brick. Although you can see where the doors were altered to put in the new steel doors. The pool has a Baja shelf, which is an extended step or ledge that's in the shallow area there for lounging. And the garage on the left of the photo has been converted into an art room, or at least it was. I don't have a photo of the inside of it, but it seems to be a trend lately because I've run into more of them on the houses I've done on my website. Then here's the poolside cabana area. It's very nice. Okay, so going back to the case study house, they were built in Southern California right after World War II. They were commissioned by Arts and Architecture magazine to showcase new yet practical and economic ideas for the modern homeowner. The first 8 architects that they chose were J.R. Davidson, Sumner Spalding, Richard Neutra, Eero Saarinen, William Wilson Worcester, Charles Eames, and Ralph Rapson. By the way, I know some people say Ames instead of Eames, but people who worked with him said it's pronounced Eames, so I'm sticking with that. So they built 25 homes in Southern California, and this one was built in 1947 by the father-son architecture team of Kemper Nomland Sr. and Kemper Nomland Jr. And you see that the house has concrete floors, which they were supposed to be economical designs. Okay, so this picture is from 2017, and it has wooden floors there, but we'll see in a minute. Well, actually, we won't see. I don't have the picture yet, but now it has concrete floors again. So the house was planned for a family of adults, hence the concrete floors, making the protracted arrangement of rooms both plausible and desirable. I'm quoting here. And the small kitchen and utility space adequate. Well, this adequate kitchen was remodeled around 2012. The house has 3,425 square feet with 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. There's also a detached guest house. So Kristen recently sold the house to actress Lily Collins, and it was featured in Vogue last year, which means I have to go update my website. Be right back. Okay, it's updated. But that brings us back to Kristen's current house, which this room was also in the listing photos. Well, not so much a room as it is maybe a wine closet. Anyway, I wonder if the previous owners left it. And at some point, I hope we'll get to see a magazine story about Kristen's house and see if she did actually choose Sarah Sherman Samuel to do the interiors. Although usually if a celebrity's house is featured in a magazine, it means that it's about to go on the market. So I need to see if Lily Collins is ready to sell that case study house. Anyway, if this Pasadena house comes back on the market, I'll be checking to see if there are updated renovations to this wine closet. And that's a wrap for Kristen Wiig's house. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. And for more details and sources, visit my website, ifitweremine.com.